Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state. Okay, good morning or good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back to the Innovation Unplugged production of the AECCS Innovation Center. We are so excited today. We've got a special guest. We've been building these. This is our over 50 episode now, and we are making a turn towards having some of our team members on. And today we're going to go way back to the early days of the IC and bring on one of our key players, Miss Sandie Dutton. She's our Registrar Manager for the IC, and we're going to walk through that story of what it looks like for Sandie to be doing registration lead for our system. So, and we also have our Chief of Operations, Julie Frizzell.
Hello.
She does not like the title Chief, but she's our Chief, so we call it that. But we, we're changing up our format, Sandie, over the next year. And if you heard any bit of the last one, we're going to be doing some new things. But the most important thing we want to do this year is capture our team members.
Yes.
Because we've had wild success with our whole program, and that doesn't happen without a good team.
That's right.
And I remember when we all came on board, and there were 4 of us, 5 of us, and then one day I was like, "Hey, Julie, we need some help," and I know where they are. So we went after it.
Sandie was one of our very first employees for the Innovation Center.
I believe I was the first one after
we were all
after Houston.
hired.
Yeah. So absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a funny thing. It was actually a twofer because I was like, well, we got 1, let's get 2, because I knew we could tell we needed it. But before we go any further into all of that, Sandie, give us a rundown who Sandie Dutton is and how you got here. I mean, because we ask that of every guest, but I think you have an interesting story too, much like mine, on your background. So give us a brief rundown of who you are and where you came from.
Well, I'm from Town Creek, Alabama, and so when I got out of high school, my goal was to really just be a mom. I didn't have a career goal, which dissatisfied my dad because he worked at Champion International Papers, and he wanted to get me on out there. And I was like, I'm not working in a plant. I don't believe, I didn't agree with it. At that time in my life, it's just what I knew in that time frame. Most of the moms were not career moms, and I just wanted what my mom had. And when that part got fulfilled and my oldest graduated high school, we started college together. So we, community college.
Cool, yeah.
I started with him. Of course, I started at night. He started in the day. I started substituting when my daughter started kindergarten to have something to do, and that led into a part-time position, which then led into a full-time position at Hazelwood High School. I've become the secretary bookkeeper. Loved it, decided, like I said, when it come time for my son to graduate, I'm like, I need to apply myself. How can you move up if you don't have the knowledge to move up? And so, like I said, we both started Northwest Shells Community College, and I wound up graduating with 2 associate degrees. And then next thing you know, they're closing Hazelwood High School down, and I was blessed to get a job at Calhoun. And so, community college is at a really big spot in my heart, because it just fits the need of what I needed, And so I started there and I've moved into different positions trying to find my niche and wound up in workforce and realized there's where my heart was supposed to be. And I seen so much of what it could do for people who didn't have or felt like they wasn't able to go to a big university to pursue a 4-year degree. My middle child is one. He struggled in school, and he knew right away, and he told them, like, in 9th grade, hey, I need to be at trade school because I need to get a job when I'm not going to college, And they worked with him. They actually let him start early, and he left trade school with several certificates in welding and went straight out and got a good job and moved up. He wound up working at Champion at the time until they closed, but he's actually working for Norfolk Southern Railroad and maintenance. So I love seeing that, because he always doubted himself. And when he graduated, I didn't know what the workforce department at the colleges could offer. I wasn't aware. I don't know how much he was made aware. He just knew he needed a trade. And so that's why all of this coming together is such a big thing for me. Because I know what it would have done for him if he had went this route, had gotten into workforce course or gotten into an innovation center course. It would have really helped him for somebody who didn't feel like they fit in the college world. So it's just, that's meaningful to me, to be able to come for myself, because if it wasn't for the community college, I wouldn't be sitting where I'm at right now. I was encouraged at Calhoun, to keep continuing on with my education. And working with the workforce, it put me back into the high school days, when, Calhoun has a big line worker program. So I worked a lot with them, at a time, helping them get registered, making sure all their paperwork. So you get to know them at a personal level, because, they're all day, 5 days a week, 7-8 weeks. And they just pulled at my heartstrings, because it's like those high school students that I used to work with and, help and get so excited with, because at the time when I was there, it was the graduation exam, and they needed that last one to pass to be able to graduate. And when they would get it, I went through that with my son. He was at the very last, that last semester that he could take that test. It's like just so much joy. And then I got to experience a lot of that with these line workers, and you go to the end with their rodeo at the last day, and you see all that, and they've got a future. And so that's what workforce meant to me. And then when the Innovation Center opportunity come up, it was like just all of it coming together.
It all clicked.
It all clicked, and I saw the potential. I had no idea at the volume that it would grow, but I saw where it was going and knew what it could do for people like my son, to fill that gap, to get them into the workforce, and to give them a feeling of accomplishment,
Did you think we were crazy when we started? So full transparency. So Sandie and I worked together at Calhoun in the workforce department, and she was actually the first person that ever contacted me about working there. I applied I applied for a job in the workforce department, and she sent me the invitation for the interview.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, well, who is Sandra Dutton? Like, who is this person? Like, what's she like? I don't know, what's this department like? So we worked together for 4 years? And then so it was 21, and then I was on loan to the Innovation Center. And so I'm trying to do both jobs. And Sandie's keeping everything running right in the department. Did you think we were crazy that fall and that next spring trying to get all this going?
It's a valid question.
I did not think you were crazy, or anyone was. I thought, I can't wait for the opening so I can apply. That's what I had in my head, I seen great things coming, and I knew if Houston was on board, because working with him, I didn't know everybody else, but I knew that if he was embracing the idea and gung-ho, I knew there was something there, and I wanted to be part of it. So I just
very special.
Quietly waited until something come up, and it's like he said, when I put my application in, it was for one person. When I get to the interview, I find out, hey, this is growing. We're actually going to hire 2 people. One person
we had
can't
such a
do it.
need. Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
and
that was chaotic. It
Yeah.
turned one turned to 2, and 2 turned to 3.
Yeah.
So Calhoun we were busy. I mean, there was not a whole lot of downtime there.
Oh no,
Because
no.
we did the non-credit, we did the incumbent worker, and all this, and all the other things that we were involved with.
Customized training.
Yeah, oh gosh, it was
Sandy
crazy.
could go on and on.
It was process after process, and so then we made the jump over here. But then you did the same thing. Like you had like a 6-month window where you
Before you could hand off everything.
kind of on loan back to Calhoun. So, and that was an interesting thing. But now that you've seen so that was in 20, what was that, 22?
22.
December of 22. I think you started December 1st of 22.
Yes.
So that was the end of our first full year.
Wow.
Which seems like 1,000 years
It
ago.
really does. I can't believe that. Wow.
Because that was our second year, and now we're in our fifth year. So you've pretty much been with us the whole time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It's been a ride.
And Matt started on January 1st. Speaking of it's been a ride, what has it been like? So, I don't know. You kind of had an idea of what we did because we were around each other, but what does that look like for you from growing all those processes and seeing the enrollment go crazy and all that? Tell us what that looks like.
Right. So when I was at Calhoun, I did registrations because I was the department assistant, and we went through all that training getting the new registration system. And so when I started with Innovation Center, I was workforce coordinator and didn't really have to deal with that too much other than kind of, hey, can you look at this? You see anything wrong, if they couldn't get to somebody to do it. And as we started growing, it's just like I started helping out because we just started growing so fast. And as I started, and I'm like, and to sit here now and think what I was doing then, that I was still doing my workforce coordinator job and creating courses and creating sections and processing registrations as one person, to where now it's taken three of us just to do the registration
you are helping
side.
the colleges in your North region at the same time.
Yes. And so it's like, which I never, there was never, I don't know how to explain this, but it was never bad. I never said, oh my gosh, if,
What did I do?
or I never said, if they don't give me some help. I never was negative. It was just, I knew what was happening. I knew we were growing. I knew eventually that we would grow as far as getting more help with what I was doing. Still never expected it to be where we're sitting at now. We're almost about to hit 1,000 sections created for spring semester. I mean,
Just
my
one
gosh,
term,
just
yes.
one term. And it's mind-blowing to the new courses that are coming out, to what we started with. Is in the amount of high schools now that are getting served with our courses. It's so exciting. One of my I have two favorite parts of my job, two of my best memories. One was in one of the first labs that I attended was skid steer with Bevel College. And Amanda Clements was handing out certificates, and this one gentleman said, this is the first certificate I've ever received for anything.
Wow.
He said he didn't graduate high school. And I mean, I'm standing in the back with tears because it just touched me, is that look what, we're doing that we could provide, not just as a brag. It wasn't a bragging moment. It's just moment. That it was a proud moment of what we filled that gap. Back to what I was saying before, we filled that gap. And so just this last semester, the other most favorite thing is my niece. I went to one of her ball games. She was in the band, and she's sitting there telling me at halftime that her mom says, tell her what you want to do, when you graduate, because she's graduating this year. And she said, I want to go into heavy equipment. And I already knew she was registered at the high school. And so we've talked several times, just yesterday she texted me. She said, hey, I'm finally getting to do the lab for these other two courses, and
That's
she was
great.
telling me. So that's a proud moment,
Absolutely.
because
to know the impact in your own family,
yes,
much less families across the state.
Exactly.
Like,
I can imagine how others feel with that, how proud they are. I'm so glad that we are able to offer that. And I'll always use that term, to fill in that gap, because I think that gives them training. It gives them room to upskill, to continue taking another to upskill with their job, and to show them. And then also for the ones, that can or see a different, it leads them into a college path, because so much of what we have leads into any type of degree in that field. So there's so many doors they can go through. And it's just, I'm glad to be a part of it. So glad.
Well, we're blessed to have you on our team as well. I think you've been able to see the growth over the years, and sometimes we don't know what to expect when we start making decisions and we start, brainstorming. Well, how do we help this move forward, or how do we put more resources into this? Like, you've seen the impact, not just from supporting the college side, but from supporting the student side of it as well. I don't think any of us realize where we would be today 4 and 5 years ago.
Right.
But we sure are proud to have you on our team and appreciate all the support, because it's not possible without you and your team to be able to support our students getting into these courses. And I think that's the other part. Like, when we created the roles that we needed within the Innovation Center, it wasn't for the Innovation Center, it's for our colleges, to support our colleges. Just the influx of registrations that were going to come on because these courses were going to be offered was something more than one person could handle at a college. And so I think that was also the beauty of having a registrar team now, so they can support all of the colleges with that. So,
and I have a great registrar team that goes along with the whole entire great team.
Yeah.
And part of working at Calhoun that makes me see, because I know what I did there when I left. So I know the Innovation Center was just being making their partnerships with the college. It was just getting started good when I came on. And now when I look back at Calhoun to where they're at now, and how much they've grown in their workforce department, because I know them, I know what I was doing, so I know how they've grown. And I can see other colleges growing because I'm getting emails, hey, here, I'd like to introduce you our new employee, our new team member. And it's because, the different courses they're able to offer, it's a lot, and it's hard on the colleges to do all that with a small team. As we're growing, they're growing, and so it's just working hand in hand with each other. So,
and we hope on future episodes you'll get to bring in Grant and Rosie and get to share some of their thoughts and experiences they've had new in their roles. But the cool thing is y'all all came from one of the local colleges. And so the roles that you played there and the roles that you play on the team now with the Innovation Center, still supporting the colleges. I think that's what's been so impactful, is they've all been able to just pick it up and work tirelessly. I mean, day to day, know what to do, know how to move forward, know how to troubleshoot, know how to support. I think that's what's also been impactful for our colleges, is to have those people that have had experiences with the college already, working in those roles. And Grant and Rosie do a great job every day. So we're excited to have them on our team, and hope the audience gets to hear more about them in an upcoming episode as well.
Yes.
Me too. We stole them. I got my hand slapped. No, we did steal them. They're great, but
they applied.
But that's to your point. Like, we wanted people who knew it, so our colleges would be supported, and not have to teach people a process, then to help the colleges. Do you like the fact that we don't always know what's going to happen, or does that keep you up at night?
No, I like change. I'm there's people who doesn't do well with change. I like change. I like, things can get so monotonous. You do it over and over, and it's not that you don't lose your joy about it, but you just get so routine. And so change always brings a whole freshness to it. And it excites me, because I'm like, oh, that's so exciting. Anytime you talk about things that Rosie, Grant, and I will say, oh, man, we want to go to that pilot lab. We want to see how that plays out.
That's right.
I love hearing about the new courses coming in, because in my mind's rolling, okay, which college is going to work the best with that, because you get to know what they offer, and, because their audience, and they talk to you. When I was coordinator, I learned a lot about some of them. Like, they'll tell me, well, that service might not go over well in their industry. They don't have a high need for that type of service, but this would, so you kind of know. And
it's that library catalog of courses.
Yes.
You don't need every one off the shelf, but it's there when you need it, right?
Right, exactly. And then times change, all of a sudden there's a company coming in their area. Oh, wait a minute now. Let's turn that circle.
That's a great point, because they made it. Like, say, take Bevel, because you served them, and they needed a lot of heavy equipment, CDL. But then something happens, and now they have a resource, and they can immediately respond to the company and say, "Yeah, no problem, we got that. We got 3 things like that. Which level do you want, or front of the house, back of the house, whatever." I think that's we don't say that enough, that the colleges have a catalog that they don't always use but can.
Yeah, it's
That's
available.
a great point. I forget that a lot. Sandie, we're getting close to short on time. Chris Strickland, you know who he is. He's kind of the godfather of this whole thing. Been a big supporter and he's a mentor to me. I don't know if he knows that. I don't tell him, but he
You're
came on the show.
supposed to tell people.
I know, but
your
sometimes
mentor.
they don't tell you the same thing if they think you're really listening. And so he said, "What are you toasting to? What are you celebrating in 1 year, 5 year, 10 years?" And so earlier, the four of us got on and just a little vision casting about the show or the course collection in general. In 1 year or 5 years, what are we celebrating from your perspective?
From my perspective, is the number of students we're serving. That's my. I mean, the growth there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm celebrating. You know, so many people has been served, and that we've gave. Not just. I don't mean when I say we. I don't mean the Innovation Center.
No.
I mean us in the colleges
Right.
working together. We've provided that opportunity, and by our numbers growing, we see what the effect has been. You know, when you're talking to someone and you know that they've gotten a job afterwards, you know, there's people coming to some of the heavy equipment. People are getting hired on the spot at some of these labs. I mean, and that's exciting.
what we want. Yeah.
That is exciting.
That's
First off, that the need is that great that they're
Yeah.
going to come and hire people on the spot. You know, there's time in our economies that you didn't have that. I mean,
Yeah.
people...
No.
So many people out of work. So to know that we have that great need, not just in the industry, but, you know, now the need in the high school is helping these students, you know, earn more training in their career path that helps them when they graduate. It's just, that's what I celebrate is the students, the number
great.
of students,
Yeah.
because I see that. You know, that's been what has
That's what
kind
we're
of
here for.
been
Yeah.
the center of every job I've had since I started in the school system in K-12.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah, you've always, since we started and you were on loan to Calhoun still, you've always found a way, and that's what I can always count on is Sandie to give me like here's the nuts and bolts of it, and here's why you need to make this a point right now. And she's always done that, you know, with all the different processes we had at Calhoun, and working through personnel and processes at companies and all that. So it's one of those things like as we transition into the four of the directors doing some different things, and we said, hey, we need you guys to handle this stuff. And I told them, I was like, I had no problem doing that with you and Matt and Destiny. I was like, we'll walk away and I come back in 6 months and it's better than it was when I left. And so, so being able to trust that process, because, you know, the registration is meshed with the career readiness, which is meshed with the workforce side and all that in between, and supporting those colleges consistently. You three are doing a really good job. And
No doubt.
And from the second round, I don't know if we're the OGs. I don't know what you guys are. The managers.
OG2.
OG squared.
OG squared, yeah, something. So it's been amazing to watch,
has.
and I look forward to whatever happens next.
Yeah.
Final thoughts?
What are you looking forward to? Like,
Yeah.
what's something new?
To the next thing. What's
To the next thing.
I mean, not the next thing outside of it.
Yeah.
The next thing the Innovation
The next
Center is
big
going
thing
to.
through
The
the
next
Innovation
big thing is
Yeah.
how we're going to continue to grow. I'm at the point in my life I should be thinking about retirement, and all I'm thinking about is, okay, yeah, I could retire, but no, I can't. You know, this is
She'd have FOMO.
You know, oh my gosh! If I was to, when I decide to retire, I would probably try to work out a plan to come back part time.
You might have to contract consultant work Sandie in to
I think
helping
one
us.
of my biggest
Yeah.
downfalls is letting go of things.
Yeah.
And so letting go of control, not because I'm a control person, because you just want to assure that the process is going to have the same integrity
well, you take
that you
pride
had.
in ownership and things that
so-
you've created. Yeah.
Right. And so one thing I've realized is if you give the right training, that you're going to keep it, you know,
Yeah.
and that's one thing I can say. Rosie and Grant do things the way I was doing it, and I am open to change. And that's one thing that has been great about this whole team. If I see a process that I feel like, oh, if we did this
do
a
it
little
better.
different, it would make this easier, and bring it to Houston. And he's like, well, let's run with it. Let's try it. If it doesn't work, we'll go back the other way. And that's the same thing, you know, with my registrar team. If they see something that might be holding them up because they might do it a little different flow, then I'm willing. Let's try it. You know, let's see how well
That's
it can
so
go.
important. Yeah. We empower our teams to find the ways that they can work best to support.
Yep.
And
Yes.
that's
That is
always
definitely
the best direction to give. Is
It is
hey,
so nice to
yeah.
be working with people that have your back.
That's
you know,
right.
and I'm not saying I didn't always have that. I'm just saying it's a very strong
Yeah. Makes your job easier knowing
thing
that.
here.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's good to
Absolutely.
take risks with a
Where-
parachute.
Yeah.
A very good parachute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tandem one.
Yeah, double.
Very low to the ground for me, though, because I don't like heights.
Yeah. Good. Well,
You know,
thanks
it's
for
been lots of experiences. You know, we go to Tuscaloosa,
Yeah.
Destiny and I was down here for something, and hey, how many people gonna stay at a hotel that catches on fire?
Oh gosh. Sandy
So-
does have some travel stories
Yes,
for sure.
we have some fun times, but it was just in the kitchen, thank God, but it was an experience.
Yeah.
I have definitely had a lot of experiences, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to what we're doing and my part in it.
yeah.
Well, we're proud to have you on the team, and of course, your work that you do is so important, and appreciate everything that you bring to our team and to our colleges. It's very impactful every day.
Yep.
Yep. And just your positive attitude. I think that's also what is contagious about the Innovation Center team is we have such good employees in our team, and everyone's always thinking, how can I improve the process? How can I support my teammates? I think that's why we work the way we do is because we have such great positive influences across the board on our team. So appreciate you being one of those and being a cheerleader for others because that's important.
Yep. And she finally started drinking coffee. So
I went to the barista lab and I said, I don't drink coffee. Here's your challenge. And so before I left, I found something I liked, and I've been trying different things.
Oh, that's neat.
love it.
Yes.
Yep. Good stuff.
Still not drinking, I'll buy a small. I'll drink half of it, but
Yeah.
I'm getting
She
there.
branched out. That's
I'm
good.
branching out.
Baby steps.
All right. Yeah.
Baby steps.
Well, we appreciate you being on, Sandy.
thank you for having me.
Houston, for the support you give to Sandy and her team as well. We appreciate all of that and look forward to having Grant and Rosie on soon.
Oh, yes.
And, our other teammates that will be kind of co-hosting the Innovation Unplug moving forward. So thanks, everyone, for listening in today. We appreciate you joining us. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share, all of those wonderful things on all the podcast platforms. And we will see you soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Stuff.